Today is the last official day, it was always going to be the last official day for the 11 candidates for the first round of the French presidential election, to be decided, of course, on Sunday. And some of the leading candidates were very quick to cancel their scheduled events in the light of what happened on Thursday, and it won't surprise many people here that they haven't been shy in rushing forward to express how they might have handled this whole issue much better. Marine Le Pen, François Fillon, the conservative right-winger, and Emmanuel Macron all have appeared in front of the cameras today. In terms of the investigation, Sally, of course, that is very much still ongoing. We have one suspect, the attacker who was killed at the scene here last night as he tried to escape on foot. He's being widely named in multiple French media sources as Karim Chifri, a French national, a 39-year-old, but very much known to the police and intelligence services, a man who spent over a decade in prison for the attempted murder of 3 policemen back in 2001. According to French media sources, he was also re-interviewed, if you like, by the police as recently as February of this year, because informants, so-called, had tipped off the police that he was perhaps planning another attack against policemen. He was let go, presumably, because there was insufficient evidence to continue to detain him. A police search is being conducted at his apartment in a suburb east of Paris, and clearly people are very anxious as to whether or not he had any network of support or any accomplices who may still be at large. And we are expecting more information, of course, through the course of the day from the investigating authorities and the prosecutor. But if we could let's take a little step back, Sally, and have a look at exactly how last night's attack unfolded and the immediate aftermath of it. Here's a report from our colleague Annalise Borges.
A Parisian landmark turned into a crime scene. The Champs-Élysées is one of the busiest parts of town, but on Thursday night it was the target of what appears to be another terror attack. Just before 9 p.m. local time, a man fired at a police van with an automatic weapon. A police officer was killed, 2 others wounded.
It was a terrorist. He came out with a Kalashnikov and started shooting, but he could have shot us on the pavement and killed more people with a spray of shots. But he targeted the policeman. Unfortunately, there were the policemen who killed him.
French prosecutors say the lone gunman was known to them. He was shot dead by security forces as he tried to flee the scene. Daesh claimed responsibility. The attack comes just days before the presidential election in France.
Mesdames et messieurs, le gouvernement est pleinement mobilisé.
Ladies and gentlemen, the government is fully mobilized. Nothing should hinder this fundamental democratic moment for our country. On the eve of this major event, I call on the spirit of responsibility and the dignity of each person. It's up to us not to give in to fear, into intimidation, into manipulation that would play into the hands of the enemies of the Republic.
All candidates were quick to react.
There's a state of emergency in place and it won't be lifted for a long time. We are at war, and that war will be long. The enemy is powerful, it has many networks, its accomplices live among us and alongside us.
For years, I have said what we have to do. I will say it once again. Outline the battle plan that I have to protect the French people from this terrorist risk, which is by first of all controlling our national borders, because the terrorists are crossing our borders at all times and in complete tranquility. It's linked to Schengen, meaning the weakening of our borders that have been imposed on us and accepted by our political leaders for years.
Deep down, it is democracy that is targeted. It is our cohesion that they want to rattle, our values which they want to hit hard. In these circumstances, the primary role of the President as the army chief and guarantor of our institutions is to protect the French people. I am ready.
Terrorism hasn't really been an issue widely explored during the presidential campaign. But with less than 48 hours to go, the question now is, what impact will this attack have on the first round of the vote on Sunday? Annalise Borges, TRT World, Paris.
And it comes as no surprise to people here that in this last day of campaigning, it is clearly shaped by what took place here on Thursday night. The candidates are not talking about the economy, about education, about the European Union and its future. They are focusing pretty much exclusively on how to deal with the ongoing terrorist threat here in France. And it'll come as no surprise to you either that the two right-wingers, if you like, the far-right National Front leader Marine Le Pen and the conservative François Fillon, both of whom I think have probably ahead of the other candidates put security at the centre of their campaign, have come out swinging this morning. Marine Le Pen talking about the need to control France's borders, the need to throw out people who are on so-called terror watch lists, implying clearly that if she was in charge, she would do these things, and France, therefore, in her view, would be much safer. François Fillon, less extreme, you might say, but certainly rhetorically throwing out some pretty tough messages himself today, talking about this being a battle for the freedom and security of the French. He says we are at war. There is no alternative. It's us or them. Pretty strong rhetoric. And, of course, the conventional wisdom is that if there is an attack, and there has now been one during the course of this campaign, it may play well with those who are promising a much tougher security and posture on security and terrorism more generally. Of course, it's impossible to speculate whether that will happen, but there's absolutely no doubt that those candidates and others are rushing to give their opinion on how to move forward to deal with what is now clearly a very ongoing threat here in France.